Ladies and gentlemen, yes, we are back with the KBW Reunion Podcast with my sweet panel, Fuego del Sol, the Bulldozer. I am the assassin, AK-47, and I am who I am, and I am different from everybody else. Dozer, let the people know.
The biggest and baddest in all of KBW, the Bulldozer.
And the best at what I do, Mr. Better Than You, Kage, a.k.a. Fuego del Sol. I'm rocking this dope shirt that I got for Christmas. You know, it says, from backyard to big time. It's got me right here. You can see me doing a drop kick in the classic red pants. Kage on the trampoline.
Hell yeah.
And then you got Fuego del Sol in the ring. Cool little shirt. Cool little throwback.
I love that shirt. That is amazing. You should think about selling those side by.
I don't know. You would buy it. I don't know if anybody else would.
Put it on the...
But, you know,
Put it online, bro.
Speaking of throwbacks, I tell you, you can see, why don't you grab that belt, AK? Why don't you show the people what that is in the background?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The original KBW Championship.
World Heavyweight Championship. What a nostalgia trip. And, you know, since he grabbed that, I also have this right here at my discretion.
Oh!
The Hardcore Championship.
Originally known as the Undisputed title, then switched over into the Hardcore title.
I got this.
And since Dozer grabbed that, I have another title to grab. Give me 1 second.
It's crazy that this was my promotion, but y'all got all the belts.
Well, you know, Kage actually had the belt, and I got it from him because I decided to dress as Stone Cold Steve Austin.
The United States Championship.
Actually, you should send me that photo and I'll put it in. For Halloween last year, he was like, "Can I be Steve Austin? Can you send me the belt?" And I was like, "Yes." Hey. And so, this is Dozer as dressed up as Steve Austin.
What'd you say you have, AK? The Native American Championship?
The Native American Championship.
Yes, we explained this.
The United States, but...
Yes, we explained this on day 1 of the podcast on the first episode, but just to go back over it again, KBW started with a World Extreme Championship. It was the WEC title. For people that don't know what WEC is, World Extreme Cage Fighting. It was later bought by the UFC. For some reason, they got a belt deal and were selling belts in Walmart. I bought it. The original title in the first KBW episodes called the World Extreme title was the WEC old title. Then we switched over to the Undisputed Championship, and then we introduced the World Heavyweight Championship. Later on, we introduced tag titles, and the United States title became our Native American Championship because for the majority of the roster, we were all Native American. Choctaw is our tribe. But just a fun little antidote, you know, a little Easter egg for y'all that you didn't know. But we still have the titles 10 years later.
I have one more thing.
Yes.
You requested on the first episode.
Let's go!
Of the podcast.
Let's go! He didn't tell us about this. Jesus, it's so faded.
It's so faded.
It's so faded. I love it.
It's so old and faded, but I will forever, as long as I can, keep this.
Yes, should I grab the hoodie then, guys? Should I grab the
Grab the hoodie!
Hold on 2 seconds.
The hoodie!
Hold on 2 seconds.
Grab the hoodie. I got the Native American Championship on my shoulder. I got the world title on my shoulder right now. We're bringing it out. All the nostalgia.
Belt I talked much shit about back in the day, but it was actually probably the best quality belt we had. I mean, it's the real deal replica,
much, yeah.
You know. But, you know, I do love this belt, and I love all the belts in KBW. It's just every time I see one, I don't even think of WWE or whatever we use. I think of, you know, KBW and the purposes we have for it.
Exactly, bro. Me too. I love the championships we brought into KBW. Of course, they're from WWE, but man, we made it our own, and it was so great that we did that. And just the fact that we get to use these, and he's back.
I am back, but unfortunately, it's in a box at the top of my closet, and I would need a ladder to get it. I need the next episode. The next episode. Speaking of future episodes, I feel like I need to let everyone know that we've seen your comments, we've seen your request, and I want to nip it in the bud now. People are asking, where's Pac-Man? That's one of the biggest comments we've got over and over again. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I am happy to announce that Pac-Man will be on a future episode of this podcast. Hopefully it's next week if we can get him lined up. Schedules have to align. There's 4 different people in 4 different places. We're going to try to get it lined up for possibly next week. If not next week, the week following, you will get Pac-Man. We're going to go over his favorite matches, some of his storylines, how he felt about KBW. I can't wait. Not only him, but in future podcasts, we have locked down D-Man, who is probably going to be here with me in person, who's going to be on this. We're going to have Big Time Mike when we get to the later era of KBW on this podcast. We're going to get the secret buyer of KBW, the owner of KBW, Mr. O, on this podcast. And even though we might not get everybody, maybe some of your favorites weren't named, we're going to get videos sent in, at least to let you give them an update of their lives, what they look like now, who they are now, all of that fun stuff in the future. We've seen your feedback. We love the feedback, and we want to give you as much of your old favorites as possible to take you down that nostalgia trip and see how other people felt about KBW.
Yeah, I mean, I'm excited. I'm really excited to get these guests on the show. And you know, speaking of comments and answering questions, you know, we've had a few questions from podcast listeners for us. So I'd like to take this time if you guys would like to maybe answer a few questions.
Absolutely. Shoot them our way.
For sure.
Now, I cannot pull it up because I had them screenshot it on my phone when I'm recording on my phone. But, so I can't say the names, but I'll remember the questions. And
if you send them to me, I'll edit them into the podcast.
Oh, okay. Well, I know the first one was, and this is, you know, kind of a, I'm sure you've answered this a bunch of times, Kage and AK. But for our listeners, you know, one of the questions was, what is your best advice in getting into professional wrestling?
I got this. I got a go-to answer for this. I've said it 1,000 times, okay? When you first are trying to be a pro wrestler, you will get into a ring. Whoever lets you get in the ring, you'll get into their ring. No clue about the person, no background check. If you're trying to get in, you don't realize how many scam artists or how many half-baked professional wrestlers are trying to train people. You need to find a credible trainer, right? When I say credible, what does that mean? That means they have trained someone who has made it to the big stage on TV, or they used to be on TV themselves. So they need to be a former, like the Dudley Boys have their own school, Tyler Breeze and Sean Spears have their own school, Booker T has his own school, right? And those guys have been on TV before. Or you take someone like the Nightmare Factory who helped get people onto TV, or other places around the country that help get people to TV. They have a record and resume of guys they help launch their careers. But those schools are expensive. And for people that don't have the money, I say work hard, get a second job, find a job, save up the money, and just get into the best cardio shape you can right now as you're saving up money to eventually get to one of those schools. Because you don't want to go to a half-baked school with a half-baked trainer who's not going to get you far in your career. You need to find a credible trainer and to get in the best shape possible. Right now, you need to be in the gym at least 3 days a week, trying to get some type of definition. If you want to be on TV, you need a TV body. This is coming from someone who was reluctant to that for a long time, that eventually had to change his body to get on TV. So that's just a couple little things, but you have to be passionate about it and love wrestling. If you're not watching wrestling, I wouldn't suggest going down this route. You need to be watching wrestling pretty often and still have that love for professional wrestling. AK, you have anything to add?
Well, you definitely put it all out there, and I share everything you said with that. And the only thing I could add to that is also from my personal experience, just keep that passion. Also, if you do get into wrestling and something happens, don't get discouraged, because that happened to me early in my career where I got discouraged from a match that went the wrong way. And you'll find out there in the wrestling world, not everybody's your friend, not everybody is friendly, and there are some assholes out there that will, take advantage of you in the ring if you're new. And that happened to me, and I got discouraged about it. I was like, I don't know if I want to do this anymore. I lost my passion just because of that, and I regret that now. If I would have stayed with it and moved past it, say, oh, this is just a one-time occurring thing, I kept my passion. I didn't let it discourage me. I kept going. I'll probably be in a different spot than I am right now because I would have stayed with it. So I went away for a while. I went to college. I didn't really think about wrestling. I didn't think I was ever going to get back into it. And eventually I did get back into it. And I got that passion back. And I said, fuck that noise. I'm not getting discouraged ever again. And I feel like a lot of people need to hear that because it happened to me. And I wish I could tell myself, get past the bullshit. It is a one-time thing. It might happen a few more times, but it doesn't matter. This is what you love, and stick with it.
Hell yeah.
So that's
Good
what
question.
You know, that's what I was gonna say, and I know
Great question.
I didn't go down the professional wrestling route like you two did, but just from seeing you two, the biggest thing I've seen is just don't give up. You know, that's with anything in life. Don't give up on your dreams. Keep working. Keep going. If you want to get into professional wrestling, you have to have the mentality you can do it. I've seen, both Kage and AK do it firsthand. I mean, and it's just about the passion, like you guys said.
Real quick, before you ask the next question, I do want to point out that the title of this video is The Story of the Renegades, and we're going to get to that after we answer these questions. We're going to explain the story of the Renegades because it's a big one. But we did have some questions we wanted to answer beforehand. Go ahead, Bulldozer.
So the next question is, what is the worst bump each of us has ever taken in KBW? I'll let you start first, Kage.
Yeah, I think we know yours, so we're gonna start first and let you cap it off.
Yeah.
I have a couple. I have a couple that come to mind. Right. First one that we put on the first ever episode of the KBW podcast is me flipping off the top of the porch, the railing of the porch, and landing through a table on my back. It hurt very, very badly. You hear me say "best in the world" as I flip. And
best in the world. Oh, and he misses again. And Kage goes to the table. Kage puts his...
Then me and AK did a leather strap match. And he drives a ladder right directly into my face. We practiced it multiple times beforehand. It went off without a hitch. I got my hands up. My hands hit the ladder. In the match, though, don't know if I was just I did not get my hands up. Smacked me dead in the head.
Tonight, not this match. Oh!
But just saying that made me think of one more match in our Extreme Rules match. I have a chair up to my face that you're supposed to jump off the trampoline and kick it into my face. It hits my chin, and I have a scar forever on my chin. It's hard to see in this lighting, but...
And now he throws it to him again. What's he gonna do? Oh, and a drop kick! A drop...
It was bleeding that day real bad, and so I have a scar on my chin that'll be there forever from a chair that AK kicked into my face. Of course, you've probably seen them by now. I'll add all three of them, and I'll add y'all's clips in. AK, tell me what your worst bump was.
Yeah, speaking of the leather strap match, I also had a pretty gnarly bump. I wouldn't say it was like a traditional bump, of course, but we were both on the ladder, going back and forth, fighting on the ladder. And then at one point, you grabbed my head and you slammed my face like on top of the ladder. My eye caught it at one of the rails, and just basically left a huge scar under my eye as well. I don't know if you can see it either, but it started bleeding everywhere. It was just like a bad cut that I got from that. Also, I'm thinking about another bump that I took. I just remember this with a ladder, another ladder spot. When you put the ladder, I forget what match it was, but you put your ladder on top of me and you did the moonsault.
Oh, yes.
Remember
that was in the Iron Man match.
Yeah. The Iron Man match, yeah. So I remember that kind of hurting a bit because it kind of like hit my knees really, really bad.
And a backflip onto the World Heavyweight Champion.
So I remember that one hurting. Also, just the leather strap itself, like the belt hurt really badly.
We just beat the crap out of each other with leather straps.
Yes. And another thing I would say, a lot of people was like, "Oh, well, it shouldn't have hurt that bad," but it kind of did hurt a little bit when I got. I think it's one point where did we both go into the cans at one point? The big cans.
So I Samoan dropped you into the thing,
yes.
the cans with the carpet with the dust, and then you speared me once into the trash bags full of cans.
Yes, I want to go back to the Samoa drop. That's what I know. We had a carpet there.
That's the leather strap match. It's literally right after the eye bump. You took the Samoa drop.
So most of
Don't do this! Don't do this! Samoan freaking drop!
so most of the minority like bumps that I remember is from the leather strap match, which is kind of wild. But yeah,
And then probably the most famous bump of them all. Give it to us, Bulldozer.
yeah.
So, I mean, I think we've already talked about it a little bit on the previous episodes, but no doubt my most painful bump was Money in the Bank 2, the Beast, when he tries to hit the runaway train. And so my mentality was, he kind of botched the move a little bit. So I
don't think so. I don't think he botched it all.
Well, I was thinking he did because he just like barely hit me on the shoulder. And so I was like, my mentality was sail. So I go flying off the trampoline, neck first, and I swear to God, I think when I hit the ground, I think I'm paralyzed. Like I just was numb. You want to tell them about you being on the ground?
Yeah, well, first of all, I just want to explain the bump because this botch thing is blowing my mind. I don't even remember exactly how we planned it out, but I think your knee was supposed to be on the railing, and when he hit you, you fell and just rolled out of the ring. When he hit you, your knees were completely together, and the momentum of you trying to go out of the ring, you slip, and your body, like a slinky, goes down off the trampoline. You hit your neck.
Crazy! What is this? The Beast! Not Buddha! Oh my God! The Buddha, look at this, broke his neck! The Beast! Not Buddha! Oh my God!
I was the Bamba Kid, of course, in that match. I'm laying on the ground out there. I didn't see the bump from up top. I just see Bulldozer land on his neck. Again, same thought, paralysis, right? He looks up with like this look of his eyes get big and his mouth is open of just like, I can't believe I just bumped that way. I don't want to talk too much about Money in the Bank 2 because we're going to do a reaction video of Money in the Bank 2. Us three are going to react live to Money in the Bank 2, and we're going to get our thoughts on the match. AK commentates the match. I am in the match as the Bamba Kid. Bulldozer's in that match, and really is his breakout moment in KBW because he goes bananas. He goes ham in that match. So we'll definitely talk about that. But I couldn't believe you were okay, Dozer. I just really couldn't believe you were okay.
I mean, once I got my breath and I got up and everything was fine, it was good, but it was just crazy in that moment. But I also want to say this. I've been meaning to say this for a couple weeks. That was definitely my most painful bump. But AK did not hold back when he used weapons. I hate it. I hate it when Kage gave him a weapon and he had to hit me with it because those are real shots. And they were very painful.
Yeah.
Well, dude, that speed limit sign was a bitch, bro.
It was.
That speed limit sign is just a thin piece of metal, and it was just like a giant chop. Just imagine a chop. Did you see? It's just a giant chop to the back, and he would lay it in so hard. And of course, when you're wrestling Bulldozer a big guy, he can take it. It's easy. He's got all that surface area to dispense the energy. He'll be fine on his back. Light him up, AK. With chairs as well. I remember him going nuts on a chair with you before.
Oh yeah. I apologize to Dozer and all the rest of the KBW wrestlers that I hit with weapons and the speed limit sign. I did get carried away a lot of times where I was in the moment and I really did put a lot of force behind it, and for that I am sorry for all the those painful hits.
And listen, AK is a much different individual now. And when the red light is on, he's a tough son of a bitch. But when the red light is off, he is a quivering pussy, okay? He didn't want to take shit.
True.
Don't touch me. We don't have to practice that right now. Don't hit me with this, right? We can just. I remember one of his sayings was, "We can just do it in the match. We'll just do it in the match. We don't have to do it right now. I'll do it good in the match."
Yeah, that is a part of me where I was like, oh, when we going over like this spots, like, oh man, that kind of seems like crazy, but when the camera's rolling, I get in it. I'm in the zone, and I'm just a totally different person. Like my confidence is up. The cameras are rolling. It's like,
adrenaline's pumping.
Everyone's watching this. You got to do it. My thing was like, hey, when the cameras are rolling, it's time to do it. Do it. don't think about it. Just go for it and don't be scared. And that's kind of how my MO. I just went with that, and it worked out in the end. But yes, I did not want to take a lot of things and get hit by anything because, yes, I was very, very like, I don't know. I don't like pain.
No.
I
think I grew up with multiple brothers, right? We're roughhousing all the time. We're doing a lot. I'm the oldest brother, so it's almost like in my DNA that I got to be the toughest. I got to be the biggest and the strongest. You know what I'm saying? AK didn't have that in a lot of senses, right? AK was spoiled in a lot of ways. Like he didn't play a lot of physical sports for real. You know, so it's like as he got older, I feel like his pain tolerance got better and better. I think he's very tough now. But back in the day, man, it was very funny to see because we would get into arguments. Like, I'd be trying to go over things, he wouldn't want to go over it. I'm just like, bro, stop being like. We almost had a falling out of our friendship because his finishing move, the awesome knockout, such a cool move. And one day he just decided, I'm scared to flip. I'm not flipping anymore. I'm like, bro, just do the move. You've done it 1,000 times. And he's like, no, I'm not doing it. I'm like, bro, do the move. What are we out here doing? Practice. You've done this before. Why are you scared all of a sudden? Like, it made no sense to me.
Yeah.
We got so mad at each other. He's like, you know what? I'm going home. He had let me borrow Mad Max 3 for my PlayStation. He went inside and took the game. And it was like, you can't borrow my game anymore. And he walked home. Instead of letting me drive him home, he walked all the way home. It was hilarious. We got into a fight just because he was scared to do a move that he's done 1,000 times. And I got so mad that he wouldn't do the move that I was being like mean. I was like, dude, come on. Quit being a bitch. Do it. Do the move. I'm going to do the move. If you're not, it's my move now. I was like, it was just dumb teenage crap.
Yeah, this teenage back and forth arguments. And it was mostly, it was my fault. For some reason, I psyched myself out of the move. Like I did it 1,000 times, and I thought about it too much. And at that point, I don't know what happened in my brain when I woke up that day. Something just triggered in my mind. I was like, "This is dangerous. Don't do it." And I got in my head about it. I was overthinking it. I was like, "Oh my god, I can't do this anymore." Like it's like one of those moments where you never think about it, but I don't know if you ever think about this. Like if you just think, what if you just don't remember how to walk? For some reason, you just wake up. You wake up one day and you're like, wait, I can't move my legs? Like, why can't I walk?
What is this
I know I can walk.
What is this?
I'm just saying, you never thought about this? You never, like
You have a point.
I don't think about that. I think about, like, what if I forget how to breathe, right?
What if I just, like, one day I wake up and just forget? Like, it's something routine we do every day. But if I just one day wake up, like, wait, like, how does this work? I'm telling you for sure. There was a moment where I overthink everything. Like, how is my brain telling my body to move and shit like that? Like, I overthought it, and I was in my head. And, anyways, long story short, yes, I was scared to do the move. I did it 1,000 times. I psyched myself out. I overthought it, but eventually, I came back. We settled the bullshit. I apologized. Bygones bygones, and we was like, hey, I'm back in the fold. I'm done with that. Let's actually do the move. And I think eventually we just did it. And
he got it back. But I just want to say, this is great therapy. This podcast is great therapy for mine and AK's friendship. Because 2 podcasts in a row, I've gotten redemption. I've got justice for my feelings from 10 years ago. The girlfriend thing. Hey, now, he admitted it was his fault. What is going on here? What growth have we experienced? But we've spent 22 minutes already talking about 2 questions. Let's get through these a little faster.
No, it's fine. I love this, bro.
I love it.
We can go on as long as you want. Let's go.
Well, the next questions I'm going to bundle together, and I'll just let you explain it, Kage, to the listeners. It was, what happened with Royal Rumble 3? Why did it get botched? Another question was, who was Too Quick and the identity of Too Quick. And then there was a question about, like, a bunch of the what if matches that would have happened, like, or that we didn't upload. So I'll let you explain to that.
Yes, I think those are all great topics, right? So we talked about a couple weeks ago, there was a season we tried to record when I come back to Alabama for the summer one year. We did try to film a Royal Rumble 3. It did not meet the quality of standards I feel like KBW was up to. We filmed at a different location at AK's house. The trampoline wasn't as sturdy. We had all grown. We were grown adults at that point, 20-something years old. All of us wouldn't fit on the trampoline at one time, so it was going to break the trampoline. So I tried to do a different stipulation. There will be a podcast about the Forgotten Season in the future. I will upload what I have of Royal Rumble 3. We will react to it and commentate it and do all that fun stuff in the future as well. I can right now admit, someone said who was too quick. In the first ever Royal Rumble, we had a random guy in a random mask jump in the ring as too quick and he'd get immediately eliminated. That was my friend. He was a foreign exchange student from Germany named Max. Literally, we just needed bodies, right? It ended up being a 13-man Royal Rumble, but in my head, I was trying to get as close to 20 or 30 as possible, right? He was there. He spent the night with me one night. He was just in town in our area. He wasn't a fan of wrestling, didn't hear of wrestling, but he was like, hey, y'all are filming this thing? Cool, I'll hang out. Hey, brother, will you jump in the ring and get thrown out immediately and you're too quick? So many times, someone just happened to be around or happened to be in the area, and that's why they were used once and never used again. But that's another podcast. We're going to have like the not top 10 wrestlers. We're going to go through all the obscure one-off people. Like people are talking about Tornado and Money in the Bank 2. That was the only video he was in. We got plenty of guys like that we're going to bring up. I'm going to explain how they got into to KBW, why they never came back, things like that, just to explain it all. And then finally, there was storyline ideas that we had going forward in KBW that we had to botch or scrap. And there was ideas that if I could go back and change things, that I'd have a few different scenarios that I probably would have changed for the better. And we will go over that in a future podcast as well. So if you're liking the podcast, just wait. If you see anybody commenting and asking these questions again, give them the answers. Pac-Man is coming. More podcasts are coming. I'm just glad you guys are enjoying the ride. All right. Should we get to...
Yeah. One more thing. To talk about the too quick thing. Was I remember the commentary, I forget who it was, when he got eliminated. It said, too quick, just as fast as he got in. I
think that might have been D-Man. I think it might have been D-Man. That's the thing about Royal Rumble 1. We hadn't got the editing software yet. So... literally, we had 13 people in the match, maybe not even that. Maybe we only had 10 in Royal Rumble 1. But the people that were videotaping and commentating the match changed throughout the match because we needed them to get into the ring to be in the match. So some guy would get eliminated, and then they would take over the camera. You could hear the breathing in the background.
God, I love this podcast.
Yes, it's so good. Okay. Let's get to it. We're already 25 minutes deep, 26 minutes deep. Yeah. We're going to start the story of the Renegades, one of the most anticipated episodes. Some people say the best faction in KBW over Execution. But I mean, AK, we had our time last week to explain Execution. We should try to explain the Renegades. Let me explain what I have went back and researched now, okay? I finally got the editing software right a little bit before Royal Rumble 2, right? And so you see the KBW starting to pop up at the corner of the screen in every match. You see the logo, I should say. You see the entrances start getting bouncy things. We created an intro, the Cut My Life Into Pieces, the Papa Roach intro song, which now is copyrighted by YouTube, so a lot of them videos just start in silence and a bunch of just random highlights. But I thought it would be so cool to do a They Are Coming. Maybe TNA was doing it at the time too, I don't know. But I wanted it to when a TV screen goes static, I wanted to go static, show a message, static out. However, I didn't have the editing capabilities to actually make something go static. So I just filmed one of my TVs going static. Actually, it was AK's uncle's TV that we filmed going static.
Oh, yeah.
Then I edited in and I cut to the They Are Coming, and then I went back to it, and then we went back to the match. And I don't know if I fully had the idea yet, but I had a couple buddies of mine in one of my classes in high school. They weren't wrestling fans, but me and them have gotten really tight over the past year, and I was telling them about KBW, and they were like, man, that would be fun to do. And I was like, oh, wow, y'all would want to be a part of it? I'd be like, what would y'all's names be? What would y'all's interest music be? And they were like, what if we were the Renegades? And I was like, what? What do you mean? He's like, you ever heard of Renegades of Funk? And I was like, what? And so he shows me the song, and I was like, dang, we could come up with like a cool storyline. And like, we had already planned out the pay-per-view, the first ever pay-per-view, Bloodthirsty, where me and you put the belts on the line. We knew that CJ was going to come out and screw you, but we hadn't put all the pieces together of like, okay, CJ's going to be the leader of this faction. Dynamite, who was your protege at the time, was going to turn and join. And then Double T and TW, who were my two friends in school, and you know, Double T had the infamous, that was his SUV that hit me in the intro of that video when the Renegades debuted. They were going to form the Renegades and kind of almost force execution by ipso facto to turn babyface. So help us kind of turn a new leaf and let me turn into a good guy. However, as soon as we finally got the Renegades to happen, it all went downhill. Like, do anybody want to interject so far of what I've explained, AK, or no?
Just to interject there, yeah, I was not part of the Renegades storyline at all at that point. Like, my name was never mentioned with the Renegades when it was first introduced. The whole entire CJ, like you said, Double T and all that jazz, them coming up with it, and you wanting to, you know, make it into a storyline. I was not even a thought at that moment of being the leader of the Renegades, even a member. And I thought it was such a cool idea at the time. I was like, dude, this is going to be so sick. I was so happy about it. I was like, oh, it's a totally new, like, branching art we can go down with the CJ, and it'd be a cool thing with him having a group and just having like this KBW Renegade type of situation. I was all for it. Then, as you said, yeah, it kind of went downhill.
Well, let me explain. So this happens. The first ever pay-per-view that we have, Bloodthirsty, happens in January of 2013, and so at that time I would have been a junior in high school, and I had just, like I said, become friends with these guys. Sometime at the end of my junior year, we filmed the first ever Renegade attack, which on YouTube it's titled AK versus CJ. Like, after the first pay-per-view, you guys have a pay-per-view aftermath where y'all challenge each other. There's a bunch of videos in between those two videos, but eventually it's titled as you're gonna finally wrestle CJ in a one-on-one. But that's really where the Renegades debut. I really need to change the title to say Renegades debut, because for a long time I feel like people didn't know when the Renegades got there because people would watch videos out of order and stuff like that. They show up, they film a bunch of videos in one day, which is really what held us over for a while. But they lived 15 to 20 minutes away. All of them did. Eventually, due to his parents being separated and switching from living with his mom to his dad, Dynamite moved to Birmingham, Alabama. So he's done. How do we get him back from the Renegades, right? TW and WT, they weren't huge fans of wrestling to begin with, but they had like real jobs as like juniors in high school. You get jobs. You can't just, your weekends are took up, right? So that summer is the summer that we tried to figure out, okay, what we started really hitting our stride, where I'm driving, the roster's growing, we have people coming, but we don't know what to do with the Renegades. We got TW to show back up for the debut of the tag team titles and the Royal Rumble, and we filmed those. And he introduced the Beast into the group because we needed someone to replace Dynamite. And so then when Double T, who had issues with his family, they couldn't come join us, and TW kind of fell off of it. During my senior year when it got started, me and AK sat down during the summer, and we were like, this storyline is too cool to just end. Like, that debut video of them coming out, attacking Bulldozer, attacking me with the car, attacking...
so sick.
Attacking AK and revealing that CJ is the leader of the Renegades and he's coming back. It was so cool that we didn't want to just let the story die. And so what did we plan on doing? I said, AK, how do we fix this? What if I was the leader of the Renegades? What if Kage ended up being the leader of the Renegades? And I'm just like, just kind of resets things. I already have execution. And then I think I jokingly said, or maybe AK even jokingly said, what if I was the leader of the Renegades? And like, I think maybe AK said it, and I was just like, wait a minute, that's not a bad idea. You turn heel, I turn baby, and we laugh about it for a second, but then I'm like, Did you cut a heel promo? And that's when he does it. He comes to me, he cuts a heel promo. This is in August. Mind you, AK does not turn and join the Renegades until November of that year, of 2013. In August, me and him had this conversation. And we had planned it out. We planned, hey, this is how it's going to go down. He cuts this heel promo. Beautiful. I'm going to slowly turn babyface. I'm going to slowly earn your trust. You're going to be reluctant to trust me, AK. You're going to finally do it. We're going to do these qualifying matches. However, during this time, we had to figure out who was going to replace Double T and TW. And we decided Mick the Brick and T-Rex have proven that they were loyal to KBW. They were going to come to all the filmings. They were going to keep showing up. They enjoyed doing it. They were fans of wrestling. So we decided, okay, Mick the Brick, T-Rex, they're going to join the Renegades. It'll be CJ, the Beast, and Mick the Brick and TW. And eventually AK will take over as the leader. However, CJ, my brother, I've explained it multiple weeks in a row. My parents got divorced. He lived with my mom. I lived with my dad. And we were going down totally different paths in our lives. He was discovering girls and had new friends that he would ride places with and do things with. They eventually moved to a different spot where they weren't as close to me, so I'd have to drive 20 minutes to go pick them up and then bring him back. And his heart was not into KBW. He didn't love it. He didn't really care for it. He did it for me, but the older he got, the more he was focused on girls and other things, and like I could just tell his heart wasn't in it. And so many of those videos of him being champion was we'd have a match and it would cut to him at my house when I'd have a chance to film something with like a back to explain things, and then it would cut back to the match, right? Because that's the only way I could get him to film anything is just promos in the back. So, and that's the bad part is I'd put my world championship on him. I didn't even want to take the belt off of him at Renegade Revolution, but I thought, okay, well, once we decided AK was going to win, we're going to be the leader of the Renegades, let's put the belt on AK. And so that's what we did. We eventually planned it all out. We planned Renegade Revolution, the first pay-per-view where AK got the belt. Then we planned the next pay-per-view of All or Nothing where it would be revealed that AK was the leader. So CJ was a part of one more video after the pay-per-view All or Nothing where AK was revealed as the leader. Then we did the Paul Wall return. But pretty much after that, CJ just obscurely left, like without reason. We didn't give an explanation. Without explanation, he disappeared from the videos. This world champion, this leader of the Renegades that had been on the videos for months, was just gone after AK took his spot. But that's why.
Never heard from again.
Never to be heard from again.
And I want to say while I'm bringing it up, and I don't know if I mentioned on a previous pod or not, but we use a lot of those Renegades are coming cuts when something would happen in the match, like the camera would die or stop.
Or just we would mess up moves. And, we would just blatantly mess up moves.
We would mess up, yeah. And so a lot of times you see those in the middle of the matches. It wasn't because we intentionally put it there. It was just because we just put it there because we needed it.
Hey, brother, let me talk back before I got editing software. If we messed up, we'd have to restart the whole video. The matches got to restart. The entrances, everything. We had to redo it all because I didn't know how to edit. And so when I eventually learned how to edit, I would edit in replays, or for a long time it had the "they are coming." Anytime we messed up, I could just edit that in. I'd say, everybody pause, let's fix it now. Here's the edit, here we go. And we would go on with the video. But yeah, man, editing software was king for us.
But let's talk about, you got something?
No, go ahead. Yeah, I'll talk after you.
Oh, I was just going to move it towards that kind of grab of power from CJ leaving to AK, turning to heel. Which he never turned back from, by the way, in KBW.
I don't know. At the finale, he hugged my neck. He did hug my neck in the finale.
I hugged Jacob Storm's neck. But
oh my God, what a segment! I just want to say, the majority of KBW, once we started back from season 2 on, I was the top babyface. I was the top heel. AK was the top babyface. It reinvigorated KBW when we did the flip. When we changed it, we had so many new storylines. And as good as AK was as a good guy, he was 10 times better as a bad guy. His promo was great. His demeanor was great. His moveset was great. He looks like this slithery, slimy snake of a man, like getting out of opportunities, running away. He looks like this little, bitch in a lot of ways. And so it worked so well, and I can't believe how well it worked. I think that's one of the things that hooked so many KBW. I mean, a lot of our viral videos are viral because of the extreme moves we did, or just because of how coordinated our wrestling was for teenagers. But for people that watched along and got hooked in to watch the story, AK and the Renegades and our rivalry, I think, is the foundation of what kept our viewers there, and I'm so proud of it to this day.
Yeah.
And you know what's crazy is it's kind of like you said with the AK turning and stuff. It wasn't necessarily planned in the beginning, but if you go back and watch the videos, you can kind of see like it was, and AK played into it a lot. It was kind of planted throughout. Like I remember when he did the talk show, I think it was episode 3. And you named the the fan favorite wrestlers, and he was the top babyface at the time, and he was like number 3 or 4.
I was number 1. He was number 2 or 3, and I was number 1. Like Bama Kid and D-Man, I kept ranking higher in the comments just because I took pride in producing matches and doing flips and doing crazy things. I would put on really good matches, and even though I was a bad guy, people respected me and liked me a lot. And AK, as a guy, I was like, man, what are we doing? It's me being a bad heel, because I shouldn't do cool moves as a bad guy, right? But that's just my ego in itself. Back in my teenagers, I got to be the best wrestler in the world. That I stole a lot of his shine, and that's a perfect way to play into it, like you were saying, Dustin. And like even all the things we did previously, we found a thread of like, how can we thread this all together and make it make sense and retcon what all happened in the past to make it seem like, hey, AK planned all this. He was the leader of all this. And when we sat down in August, 3 months prior, we filmed the first heel promo. And a lot of the things he said in this promo is a direct quote that he later used on the pay-per-view Aftermath. When after All or Nothing was done, we filmed the pay-per-view Aftermath. Bulldozer cut a promo explaining himself. I cut a promo explaining how I felt. And then AK cut a promo explaining how he felt and why he did what he did and how he was the leader of the Renegades. And it was really good. It's an underrated video because it has no wrestling in it. It doesn't have a lot of views, but it is so good of us explaining all of our stuff. And Rensler had a great video on it as well.
I was tired of Kage getting the spotlight. He was always in my way. So I just came up with a plan to kick him out of it. Now, nobody right now is talking about Kage. Everybody is talking about me. Oh, AK gets screwed. It doesn't matter. Kage is the best in the world. Blah, blah, blah. But now look at those comments on that pay-per-view, huh? Look at them. Nobody's talking about Kage anymore. Nobody's talking about best in the world. Everybody is talking about the assassin, AK-47, and that's the way it's supposed to be.
But also on that video, because the stipulation for All or Nothing was if the Renegades beat us, they would get full control of KBW. But in this convoluted story I created in my head, I had a solution for that too, that I had sold KBW as an insurance policy just in case we lost. And that was the introduction of Mr. O as the general manager of KBW. And so Renegades did not get full control, and it gave us a chance to, since we had grown so big at the time, we needed to adjust things. We didn't need to have every match be hardcore, so we made it just like WWE, where there would be countouts, there would be stipulations, which meant we had to get referees, which made things there was some growing pains, but it made KBW's overall production value better. And so Mr. O was introduced, and we got all of this going. So not only was I one of the enemies of AK and the Renegades, but Mr. O was one of the enemies of AK and the Renegades. But AK, tell me about the time you decided to turn and what your thoughts and memories are from turning and, starting the Renegades.
Yeah, like you said, with the video, we started talking that summer, and we were trying to figure out what we could do with the Renegade storyline. And I was like, yo, what if I was the leader? And like I said, you both laugh, and you be babyface, and because for so long, it's just you are heel, I'm the babyface, that's KBW. I mean, for the longest time, never really thought of being heel. Like I was, hey, this is what we do. This is how it is, But we needed something to refresh, and I was like, I came up with the idea. I was like, hey, maybe me. He was like, maybe you. I was like, maybe me. You like that idea? It's like, hey, maybe we can make this work. Can you do a heel promo? And that was where it all started. I'd never done a heel promo in my life. I was like, could I do this? I was second guessing myself. Like, could I be a bad guy? Could I tap into that different level of being a heel and showing a different side of me? And yeah, turns out I could do it. And
not only could you do it, you thrived in it.
Thank you. That first video, I think you have it, right?
Yes, I do. I'm going to put a couple of quotes. I'm not going to put everything in it, but I will put a couple of the quotes that you say, and then back to back how you say the same thing in the pay-per-view aftermath video.
Yeah, so that video, right, of you videoing me in my room. Speaking of that room is very nostalgic. I had all kind of stuff in the background. It was so funny how kind of like trashy it was, but hey, it was my room, whatever.
Iconic.
But anyways, it's iconic. There you go, iconic room. But yeah, like you said, you videoed me doing the heel basically promo. I was doing it. There's a few moments where I didn't know what I was saying. I was basically just like, we was freestyling it, right? I was rambling. I was like, hey, how can we make this make sense? I'm going to try to be a heel, try to be a bad guy. How can I spin it? Make sure everyone hates me. And like, oh God, I can't believe AK did this. So I did that video. You liked it enough. Said, hey, this is what we're going to do. Then eventually the turn happened at Renegade Revolution. I kind of, since we knew about it in August, like Dozer said, there's a few hints of me throwing in here and there at a talk show or a match where I do a kind of like a, not like super heelish thing, just kind of like a little something to make sure, like, oh, what was that, AK? What was that all about? Just make people start thinking.
But even leading up to it, over and over again, everyone thought I was going to turn. Everyone thought I was going to switch up, right? Because I had been such a bad guy for so long. Even like I remember like the last 2 or 3 videos before All or Nothing, people were like, Kage is gonna turn, and we even teased it. We had CJ offer me a spot in the Renegades in one of the videos, and it had all kind of worked out in a fun little way of like, was it gonna be Kage? No. Oh my God, the world champion at All or Nothing gets eliminated. CJ pins AK-47 and eliminates. So now it's down to Kage versus CJ. And they loads up for that headshot. AK comes back in, loads up for that headshot. And instead of hitting CJ, he hits me. And then he hits me with the awesome knockout. And then they hit the Renegade drop together.
Yep.
And then, to top it all off, after we lose, who comes out? Execution. Jacob Storm and Bulldozer. And I'll let Bulldozer take over from there. What happens next, Bulldozer?
That's when I decided to go solo and, betray Jacob Storm and you. That's when Execution finally kind of split off. And I think that was the goal, right? Like, we want this big build up, and we'll talk about all this later, obviously, but to kind of like the me, you, and AK, like,
triple threat
matches.
match, bro.
Yeah,
3 pillars of KBW.
Yeah.
We've never wrestled each other. If we're gonna do the big, like we want to do our WrestleMania of pay-per-views, the blood, sweat, and tears, it's gotta be us 3. And this was the perfect build up to it. So we switch things up. We do the turns. Now we got all of these fresh matchups, and we can do the 3 guys that I trust the most, the 3 wrestlers I feel like are the backbone of KBW. We can put them all in one match, and we can have the best match ever in KBW. That was my mindset then, and I'm still proud of it to this day. But there'll be a whole podcast on that match. I know there will. So we'll just save it for the future. But then it kind of got the Renegades off to the running. Like I said, T-Rex and Make the Brick, they were dedicated to it. The Beast was dedicated to it. So even if we couldn't get them all together, all 4 of them together all the time, anytime you saw one of the Renegades, you saw multiple of the Renegades. AK and the Beast in the backstage promos. Mick the Brick and T-Rex. AK and T-Rex. AK and T-Rex and Mick the Brick. T-Rex, Mick the Brick, and the Beast. It didn't matter how we had to do it, but we figured out ways to show that the Renegades present. We made them so much stronger by trimming the fat and explaining away the people that didn't go. And even though their debut was iconic, I think the final form of the Renegades became much better. However, a lot of they were job guys in a lot of ways. There was a lot of fodder, They lost a lot. But that's the point of the team, right? Mick the Brick and T-Rex didn't lose a lot of tag matches 2-on-2. However, they did lose a lot of matches in singles matches. But that was the reason for it, right? And I had bigger plans for them because, like, the more that they would do it, the better they got. And, like, towards the end, so many guys got so much better. I feel like if we could have just stuck around with it, or if I had a better mentality. I was playing high school soccer at the time, too, which made it much harder. Me and AK started training to be pro wrestlers and kind of took priority over KBW for a while. But we should have focused more. Not only that, we would have made so much more money. That's another sad part because we were making money right there towards the end really well. I lived off that money for like the next 6 years of my life. Was like I paid my car off. I didn't have to get a real job. I was able to stay at home with my first daughter for a long time because I was still getting paid from YouTube before all the apocalypse happened and the copyright claims on all of our videos for the music hit. Because back in the day, you could play 15 to 30 seconds worth of music and it wouldn't get claimed. That's why all of our interest music was famous music. And then slowly but surely over time, copyrights on YouTube got much stronger, more strict. And so all of our videos are pretty much copyright claimed, and we're not making money on them. I could take the music out, but then you just have silence. It takes away from the video. It's not as fun of a watch. It doesn't hit the same with the nostalgia. And so I'd rather it live how we intended and how we filmed it than to be stingy or be greedy and money hungry, just trying to get paid from the videos.
Yeah, and but back to the Renegades, I do want to say that, I think while Execution is my favorite faction, obviously, for obvious reasons, I think they, like you guys said, I just want to reemphasize, such an iconic, like, turning point for KBW in general, and kind of a signature of how when we upped our game and started doing stuff more professionally, I feel like, and it was just, they're always one of my first thoughts when I think of, like, iconic things in KBW.
Absolutely. I think it's the biggest storyline we ever did, and like for a good reason, because of how iconic it seems to us and to everybody else. I feel like people love the Renegades. When we were talking about Execution last week, there was a lot of comments about Execution was good, but they weren't the Renegades, right? Every Batman needs his Joker, right? So it's like it's one of those things, the yin and yang, and like you're only as good as the villain you face. A superhero is only as good as the villain he faces, and we had the ultimate foils in the Renegades.
Yeah, and like I said, after the turn happened, it was just a huge momentum shift for me as a person, as a wrestler, as everything that you see today. Like, I don't know who I would be if that turn never happened. Like that. It was such a major shift in KBW, but also in my life, because I didn't know I could be heel. Then I started doing all these heel promos. People were starting like, damn, AK's good at these heel promos. He's killing it. And I was like, how in the world am I doing this? Like, I didn't even think I was that good at the time. And people were really loving it. And I was like, you know what? I am good at this. I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to show my confidence and really get into the character and really like show the world who I am and what I'm all about. So it's just such an incredible experience and who I am today from all those promos. I remember so many. I love that promo when I said people's been waiting on this promo, like what did I say, like
the Martin Luther King and JFK. Real quick, I just want to interject. There's so many famous iconic lines from AK promos that I still quote to this day. He found a new confidence in himself when he turned heel. You saw his confidence rise week after week, right? Babyface AK, it seemed like all of his promos was like, I really want you to like me. I'm saying all this because I really want you to like me. But then with his heel promos, it was like every word he said he meant. It would be some vigor. There's some intensity to it. There's some like real disdain for the people that, it was so good. There's so many iconic lines, bro. I mean, we changed from I am who I am and I'm different from everybody else to I am who I am and I'm different from all you fools. And fool stands for fake and not suited enough to witness greatness. You started saying you're witnessing greatness. That was another thing that you only started doing when you turned heel, right? There's the famous line that even popped my father when he was watching it for the first time. It was like, he said, When I wrestle, you're witnessing greatness. When I do a promo, you're witnessing greatness. Hell, if I took a piss right now, you're witnessing greatness. And that line is just iconic in my head.
Yeah.
Of like, damn, this dude is doing it right now. Like, this is so good.
Yeah, it was so iconic. I used it a few times on the indie scene as well. That exact line. When I wrestle, you're witnessing greatness. When I talk, you're witnessing greatness. Hell, I could take a piss right now. You'll still be witnessing greatness. It's such a great line, such a great intensity behind it that I used a few times on the indie scene as well, just because it's so good and how iconic it was. And I appreciate Mr. O popping on that one.
Fire, bro.
And also, speaking of, I know you really popped at this one because we had to do a retake when I said.
This is later on though. I know what you're gonna say
Yes.
because I was gonna bring it up, but this is much later when we tried to film the final season of KBW. There's 5 episode season to kind of explain the finale. But you and the Beast were cutting a promo together, right? And then the Beast is his goal in this is to kind of get mad at you and turn on you, and eventually announce that he's gonna leave KBW if he loses his match. And like during it. During the promo, Beast gets real mad, and then you take over from here.
Yeah, so Beast is basically, saying a lot of shit, talking like, "Hey man, I'm the main guy here, or I should be the champion. Like, why am I always second fiddle? Or I should be this and that. Like, why am I not got the spotlight on me and all that? Why is it always about you, AK-47, blah 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 blah." And he was just going on and on and on. And I took like a quick second, like a pause. I was like, wait. Who pissed in your cornflakes this morning, Beast?
And I died. It popped me. It was such a good line
Cage
at the time
died.
that I'd never heard before. That I was loud. I was like, oh my God, we got to redo it. That was so good. That was so good. But I couldn't hold in my, I was so just taken aback how good it was. Because there's so many lines like that. And I know there's more that I'm forgetting right now.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I remember when you put a bounty on my head where you had, like, you were filming it in the house at my mom's house. Remember where you had the money in your hand and you were like talking and cutting a promo. You had that famous Adidas jacket that you would wear.
Oh yeah, I still have it.
So it's like, just Beast. Do you have a Bulldozer? Do you have a line from AKs that you remember?
Oh God, he just had kind of like you guys said. He had so many great ones, and you never knew what he was gonna say. Because it's kind of like you said, like, sometimes we went over promos or a general idea of what we were going to say. But a lot of times, AK in particular would just say stuff on the spot. And it would be like, damn, that was good. But we would have to redo it because, it was so good we'd laugh or break or something.
And then later on in KBW, he stopped giving a damn. He would say some wild things. I mean, we talked about last week, not today, titties. Or like,
oh yeah, pick this pussy up.
Yes, he said, I was like, just wild things. Like, he had
I got super vulgar at the end.
He got no chill. But it was.
I had no filter at the end of KBW. I was like, this is.
Yeah, it solidified the character.
Yeah, very solidified, and just like you were saying, I got super vulgar at the end there. I didn't give a fuck. I was always like cussing and just super into the character, and like this, I was like full form, closing in on the end of the KBW. And like you said, I kind of ended it on being heel, and a cool thing for saying that. Well, we was starting out indie wrestling at the time, and from high school we wanted to try it out, and we were baby faces at the start. Like, our trainer wanted us to be in masks. Like, Fuego del Sol, that's how he started with the mask. And I was in the mask, too. I was Yilo. Yes. And we was doing that for a little bit. But, Fuego needed to fight somebody else. And I was showing, our trainer at the time, he saw my heel work. He's like, dude, you can just be heel. And so I started just working heel and just kind of got rid of the mask because he liked me more as being a heel. So that's kind of how I started my indie career as well. So it's just all goes back to me, turning on the Renegades, doing that first heel promo, and just being, heelish,
finding
and doing
yourself,
the damn thing, finding myself, finding that confidence, and truly opened me up, and this is where I'm at today, and it's so cool to see.
Hell yeah, man! It's classic stuff, and I'm so proud of that Renegade storyline. I'm proud of how you turned, what started out great, didn't turn into chicken shit. You turned it into chicken salad, and like, I credit you to that, and like. It helped save KBW in a lot of ways and put us on a path forward that I'm so extremely proud of. The Renegades, even though I don't think they had as many big wins as they probably should have had. Like I would have loved for y'all to all have titles at the same time, which I think at one point you might have did, maybe. But there's not a picture, there's not a shot of you with the world title, Beast with the Native American title, Mick the Brick and T-Rex with the tag titles.
belts.
There should have been a shot of like that, of like, hey, we're all champions right now because we're all that good. Because that's at the time y'all all were that good. Y'all were all finding yourself and finding.
I do have a picture I can send you where we all like together. It was
Yes, please send it to me.
At T Rex's house, we're kind of like in a group, like a group shot. So I can send you that one.
Please send it to me. Please send it. I think that's
But
gonna pretty much put us almost right at an hour. Let's wrap it up this week. Let's say, hey, follow the TikTok, KBW TikTok. Follow the KBW Instagram account. You can see shorts of this podcast clipped out. And again, stay tuned because we're going to be re-uploading old videos that got deleted. And we're going to be uploading videos of us reacting to old KBW videos. We're going to have the first one's going to be coming soon of us reacting to Royal Rumble 2. And I can't wait for all of you to see it. Make sure you follow us on social media. Follow AK and me on Twitch. All of that information will be in the description below. We love you all. Thank you all. And we'll see you next time. Right, boys?
Peace.
See ya.